Batman Returns, the sequel to the box office 1989 smash. Batman is again directed by Tim Burton, and it sees Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman. This movie also stars Danny Devito as the Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and Christopher Walken as crooked businessman Max Shreck. In Batman Returns, we see Batman take on a terrible trio of criminals, including Max Shreck, a crooked entrepreneur who teams up with crime boss Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, who wishes to kill all of Gotham's firstborn children and wreak havoc on Gotham City. We also see Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle, who wishes to kill Max Shreck for killing her. As always guys, please hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel, hit that alarm bell as well so you can get notifications when my video is going to be uploaded, and give this video a like as well to help the channel grow. The first Batman, beyond a shadow of a doubt, was a game changer for the comic book genre, and brought Bob Kane's fully visualized incarnation of Batman to life, as the dark gothic hero, in a bleak and crime-ridden Gotham City. We see an emotionally damaged character, and Batman set the tone for future comic book films to follow, including Blade and Logan amongst many others. Batman grossed over $400 million worldwide, and it was just a perfect film with perfect casting, with an iconic villain in the form of the Joker, played by Jack Nicholson, who received a Golden Globe nomination, a fantastic score by the brilliant Danny Elfman, and an Oscar-nominated production design. And this movie inspired the brilliant animated series. But in addition to a brilliant villain, it had a brilliant hero in the shape of Michael Keaton, who was excellent both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. And I can't think of anybody else who would have played Batman, and to think some damn fools, when they found out that Michael Keaton was actually going to be cast as Batman, wrote a petition to Warner Brothers protesting against him being cast. Batman set a new trend in comic book films, and a sequel was a very tough act to follow. But here we are with Batman Returns, and I can certainly say that it was a very strong follow-up, with brilliant performances, spectacular action sequences, and an even better score from Danny Elfman. When I watched Batman Returns to give it a review, I found that the storyline was somewhat darker in tone, and the themes that they covered were certainly more grittier, especially for a 90s movie, in terms of the Penguin wishing to kill all of Gotham's firstborn children. Batman Returns came under fire for its dark tone and certain scenes being unsuitable for youngsters. But as a movie, there is a lot to enjoy. And just like the first movie, under Tim Burton's direction, there are some brilliant set pieces and darkly comic moments. Batman Returns has some excellent performances. Michael Keaton solidifies his status as the best Batman and Bruce Wayne ever. He was just as brooding and as charismatic as he was in the first film. What I loved about Batman Returns is that the scope of the movie has been expanded. I liked how we get to see more of the Batman universe. We see more of his weaponry. We see more capabilities of the Batmobile than we saw in the first movie. And from the first opening sequence, when the Red Triangle gang infiltrate Gotham and start terrorizing everybody, and Batman is called in to help, we see the Dark Knight spring into action, with the best Batmobile around, showcasing a whole host of functions that weren't seen in the first movie. And we know that this Batman was one that was not to be messed with. Tim Burton orchestrated some spectacular sequences with the Batmobile that we didn't see in the first movie. And also, we get to see more of Batman's skill as a martial artist that wasn't seen in the first film. In the first movie, we see him have that back alley fighting sequence with the guy with the two swords, but in this time, we see him go hand-to-hand combat with the Red Triangle gang. And I'll tell you something now, it is brilliantly orchestrated. The close combat quarter fighting sequences, brilliantly put together. And we will see that these sequences will be imitated in further installments of the Batman films, in particular Christopher Nolan's franchise. Batman has a brilliant ensemble cast. The brilliant Danny Devito as the Penguin. I couldn't think of any other actor who could have played this character as well as he did. What I love about the Penguin's character is that we get to see his origin story. His storyline is very dark but very tragic at the same time. He's a very tortured soul who wants to find not only his birth parents but also be accepted in society. And Danny Devito conveys these emotions perfectly. The late great Stan Winston demonstrates some brilliant makeup effects for the Penguin. And Danny DeVito, always a likeable and charismatic actor. But here he is on menacing form, but also in very charismatic form. And he delivers the same type of dark humour that Jack Nicholson did when he played the Joker. The Penguin is certainly on a more sadistic level than a Joker. He will kill people at the drop of a dime. We see him biting people's noses. And there's a lot of sexual innuendo from Oswald Cobblepot. And my favourite double entendre line in the whole movie when he sees Catwoman for the very first time.
Just the pussy I've been looking for.
Batman Returns has a very clever script, which is very dark in tone, but at the same time has a lot of dark humour that works. We also see Christopher Walken as Max Shreck, and Christopher Walken, well, he's Christopher Walken in every movie. And in this role, he is just as eccentric as he always is as crooked businessman Max Shreck. With that iconic voice, he just delivers lines that just work, that shouldn't be funny, but are. And he has a brutal death scene at the hands of Catwoman. But Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman for me stole the show. And hands down, she is the best Catwoman ever. Michelle Pfeiffer gives a phenomenal performance. She's essentially playing 3 different characters. In the first act, we see her play the ditzy but clumsy Selina Kyle. And after her death, she plays the sultry and seductive Catwoman. And just like the first Batman movie, we see both of our villains fall to their death. But only in this case, there's a fantasy element with Catwoman because she's resurrected by being bitten by cats and she has 9 lives. But Michelle Pfeiffer gave a phenomenal performance. And the interaction between Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle and Batman and Catwoman was phenomenal. But as a movie production design, visual effects, this movie ticks every box. It has a Christmas element to it that works, but it also has the same dark tone that was captured in the first Batman movie. And it is a very solid follow-up. And sequels have a tough act of following on from the original. But Batman Returns is a solid follow-up in the franchise. And Batman Returns is backed up by Danny Elfman's superb score, and I would say it was just as good, if not better than the first, complementing each and every scene perfectly. You got brilliant cinematography from Bo Welch, and just brilliant direction from Tim Burton, who has an element of combining fantasy, horror and action all in equal measure. At 30 years old, Batman Returns is still a very dark iteration of Batman and can match up to Christopher Nolan's franchise easily. Batman Returns grossed only $266 million worldwide, which was significantly less than its predecessor, and it received significant complaints from parents because of the dark tone and violence. But Batman Returns was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects and Makeup, and it was nominated for 2 BAFTAs. A video game of Batman Returns was released in 1992 and was available on the SNES and Mega Drive. And you'll be pleased to know that Michael Keaton will be reprising his role as Batman in the DCEU universe of Batgirl and The Flash. There were numerous McDonald's adverts for Batman, but these were pulled due to complaints of the dark tone of the movie. Batman Returns is certainly bigger than the first movie, and that is what a sequel is meant to do. The set pieces are bigger, we get to see more capabilities of the Batmobile, we get to see more of Gotham, which is an impressive set design in itself. And one of my favourite scenes in the movie is when Penguin takes over the Batmobile, crashing into everything. The brilliant set design, and when Batman finally regains control of the Batmobile, he hits a button where we see the Batmobile just strip away all its parts and it gets smaller and it was able to fit through a narrow alley. And I would certainly say that the third act of Batman Returns is not as exhilarating as the first movie, but it's certainly more emotional, where we see Batman and Catwoman confront one another after discovering who they really are. And Batman finally revealing himself to Catwoman as to who he really is. And can you see the continuity error when Batman takes off his mask? But some of the most powerful and intense scenes in the movie are between Bruce Wayne and Selina, and both deliver excellent performances, expressing their love for one another. And when they discover each other's identities at Max Shreck's ball, that scene was both powerful, sentimental and emotional. But the first Batman is still my favourite. But with brilliant performances, brilliant set pieces, Batman Returns is an excellent follow-up. And one of the best movies from the 1990s, and at 30 years old, still holds its own. So I'll give this one a very strong 9 out of 10. So guys, that's my review. As always, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit the alarm bell as well so you get notifications when my video is going to be uploaded. Give this video a like as well. Leave your comment with what is your favourite scene from Batman Returns and how do you feel about this movie 30 years on. Comment down below and I shall see you all on the next film review. Take care.